Welcome, dear friends. Welcome to the beginning of Janamashtmi. In 6 days, on the 11th, in India, we will be celebrating Janamashtmi, and in the western part of the world, on the 12th, we'll spill over onto the 12th for Janamashtmi Day and also Dehandi Day. For now, let's begin with 3 Omkars and an invocation to Lord Krishna. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansa Chanur Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadguru Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. Let's begin with the Maha Mantra as we invite the Lord to enter into our homes and into our hearts. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. A very, very warm welcome. Hare Krishna. Krishna Kanhaiyalal ji ki Jai. Banke Bihari Lal ji ki Jai. Welcome, dear, dear brothers and sisters. Before I carry on, I want to just check that my system is working. Yes, it is. And I want to be able to see you. Wonderful. Lovely. Looking forward to seeing all of you. Please do tell your family and friends to join us today. It's going to be very short sessions for these next 7 days. So we've got the birth of Krishna, and I wanted to just tell you a little bit about what we're going to be doing. So over the next 7 days, culminating on the 12th of August, which in India will be the day known as Dehandi, so it's the day after Lord Krishna's birth. It's when all the gopis and Krishna is playing his pranks and everybody climbs on clay pots and goes right up to the top of these clay pots, which are all filled with butter, to get that wonderful butter. It's a really big festival in India. And in UK and in the western part of the world, it is Janamashtmi for us on that day. And over the next 7 days, we're going to be hearing really well-known stories of Lord Krishna. Krishna with the gopis, with Ma Yashoda, of course, the Giridhar Gopal with all his gwalas, his friends, stories about the Govardhan mountain, about the flute, about Shri Radha, about all his playtimes. So in these 7 days, whatever little stories we can have, and a few bhajans as well, we're going to be doing that. And they're going to be short and sweet sessions. And they'll be live on Facebook, and then later on, hopefully, they will be uploaded onto YouTube. So very, very warm welcome. And thank you for giving requests as well. I will definitely be singing Shraddha Krishna Bhajan, definitely. So let's begin with the story of Lord Krishna. Now, over the next 7 days, I'm going to try and get a little bit more ambitious. So we might have some soundtracks, we may have some images to go along with the narration. So please watch out, because hopefully we'll have a lovely build-up over the next 7 days. And on the weekends, on Saturday and Sunday, the program is going to be at 5 p.m. London, BST, British Summer Time. On Saturday, it's going to take place on Divine Beats, and you'll be getting all the links for that for Zoom and for YouTube. And that'll be a full 1 hour session. And on Sunday, I want to invite you all to Positive Vibes, again at 5 p.m. London time, British Summer Time, where we'll be having a day dedicated to Lord Krishna with lots more bhajans, a full hour of fun and frolic, of prayer and play with our Divine Lord. And on Monday, we're going to have a very special session for people in the Far East, because the timings are a little bit unusual for them. So it's going to be London time at 2 p.m., which will be a very nice, it'll be 9 p.m. in places like Manila in the Philippines, in Jakarta, in Singapore, in Thailand, and in Malaysia. So if you know people in any part of that world, please do let them know. Give them the details to look me up on Renu Gidoomal Music, Renu Gidoomal Official, on Facebook Live for Monday at 2 p.m. UK time and 9 p.m. Far Eastern time. Well, we all know the story of Lord Krishna, but let's tell it again, because good stories always fun telling and listening. Around 5,000 years ago, there was a king named Ugrasen, and he ruled a small Indian township called Mathura. He was loved by all of his people. He was a very good king. He loved his citizens, and he took very, very good care of them. He also had 2 beautiful children. They had very good natures, very good characters as they were growing up, and they were also greatly loved by the populace. Their names, the boy was named Kans, and the girl was named Devaki. Now, as you know with siblings, there's always a sibling rivalry, and as the children matured, their personalities and their characters developed. And really their characters diverged quite a lot, because Kans knew, as the boy, was going to take over from his father. But he was a very, very ambitious young man, and he couldn't wait for his father to pass away in order to then become the king. He sadly jailed his father, and he announced himself as the new king of Mathura when he was a young man. He still loved his sister Devaki with a lot of heart. He got her married, in fact, to one of his very trusted army officers. And this army officer was called Vasudev. But a very interesting thing happened. On the day of the wedding of his sister Devaki to this army officer Vasudev, Kans had a revelation. He had an apparition, and in that, because of all his wicked deeds, I guess, he was told that Devaki's 8th child would be born especially just to kill him, to annihilate him. Oh my goodness me, he was shocked. He was furious. Kans didn't know what to do. He was pacing up and down. His courtiers were getting worried. He was shouting at everybody. He was very, very perturbed. And he spoke to his chief minister and he said, "This is the dream that I've had. This is the premonition that I've been given, that my sister, whom I love so much, this is what she's going to do to me. I've been told that her 8th child is going to kill me. This cannot be. What can I do to stop this?" So his minister suggested, well, simple, just kill all the children. Oh, kill the 8th child. Well, Kans, you know, when somebody's very, very ambitious, they get very scared. And they have a plan A, they have a plan B, a plan C, a plan D. Well, Kans said, I'm not going to wait for the 8th child, because what if the 1st child or the 2nd child decides to kill me? I am going to kill each of the children. So he thought, right. In fact, even before that, he was going to kill his sister Devaki, because he said, well, that sorts it out. But Vasudev pleaded with him, please, Kans, don't kill your sister. You love her very much, and I love her very much. We promise that we will hand over the 8th child to you. And they also agreed that Kans would put them under house arrest, not prison, but under house arrest, and let them live. But they had to hand over every child to Kans so it could be killed. So as each child came, one of the chief soldiers was sent along to the house in which Devaki and Vasudev were under house arrest. And with the crying of each newborn babe, poor Devaki had to hand over to Vasudev their beautiful child. And Vasudev went to the door and handed over the child, the babe, to the king's man, the king's soldier. So in this way, 6 children were handed over to Kans. The 7th child, a very strange and miraculous thing happened. The 7th child was transformed, was transferred by a miracle into Rohini's womb, being the 2nd wife of Vasudev. 2nd wife of Vasudev, she was free, and the 7th child was transferred. And this 7th child, do you know who the 7th child was? It was Lord Krishna's brother, Balram. Balram was born to Rohini, also Vasudev's son, born of his 2nd wife. Kans was given a story, and he was fooled into thinking that Devaki had a miscarriage and that there was just a stillborn child. On a very, very stormy night, Kans decided when it was nearing the time of the 8th child to be born, and Devaki had gone into labor, Kans said, I don't trust anybody, I don't trust anything. I am going to put them into prison. So he imprisoned Vasudev, he imprisoned Devaki, so that there would be nothing left to chance, and this 8th child would be born in prison, and his own jailers, trusted men, would be kept there on alert. A very stormy night ensued. There was thunder, there was lightning. You could hear the trees blowing from side to side. You could hear the wind lashing the rain against the bars of the prison jail. The guards fell asleep, and miraculously, the gates of the prison, the jail doors opened, and Vasudev, as soon as the baby was born, Vasudev found that his shackles were untied. They just dropped off. Okay, so he knew that this was meant to be, and he was meant to escape. So hiding Krishna in a basket, covering him with a coarse woolen blanket, he made his way stealthily, quietly, past the guards, tiptoeing them. They were snoring loudly. He went down the stairs, he went down the stone stairs of the jail, of the prison, got to the main gate, and surprisingly, the guards standing there with their tall spears had fallen asleep, standing, with the wind howling, with the rain lashing down, with the skies being lit up with lightning, and the sound of the thunderous music coming from the heavens to proclaim, to welcome Lord Krishna. Hidden under this coarse blanket, he was safe, this little one. And Vasudev very, very quickly made his way along the prison wall, along the side, which then took him to the Yamuna river. It took him to the river where it was raging. But at the point where he had got to, there was a little promontory, a little jetty. And he could see from the jetty, which went halfway across the river almost, he could see the actual ground underneath. So he made his way very carefully. Slowly, slowly, his ankles got wet. His calves got wet. He was up now to his knees, and he was a third of the way across this river, and he was being swayed this way and that at the hips. At this point, he realized he would have to carry the basket on his head to make sure that that little infant would not inadvertently slip. The basket would not slip and would fall and perhaps drown. With his hands and arms aloft, Vasudev, the father of Lord Krishna, walked and made his way until he was not only hip deep, thigh deep, but waist deep, chest deep in this water which was raging around, but surprisingly didn't topple him over. He fought the current and he made it safely to the other side. He went across the river to the place called Gokul, where his friend Nand lived. As Vasudev's feet touched the water, the river kept parting, making it easy for Vasudev to pass through. Vasudev knew that this was no ordinary child, but even he was amazed at the strange occurrences that was taking place, enabling him to go safely across this mad river. Nand, his dear friend, had a wife called Yashoda. And Nand and Yashoda became Lord Krishna's foster parents. Yashoda had just given birth. And what they did was a lovely little exchange. In exchange for Yashoda's newborn daughter, they placed little Krishna into her lap. This little girl that Vasudev then put in the basket, covered with the coarse woolen shawl, he retraced his footsteps and went back across the raging river with his hands aloft with this beautiful, precious parcel that had helped to save Krishna. He went back to the jail, put the shackles back on, gave the child to his wife, Devaki. And in the morning, they heard her crying, they heard these cries, and they said to the jailers who had come to take the child, the 8th child born of Devaki, "But it's only a girl, it's a girl, she can't harm anybody, she can't harm anybody." She was passed to Kans. They said, "No, we've been given orders by our king, and our heads will be chopped off if we don't take this child." So they took the child to Kans. And Kans said, "Even though it's a girl, I am going to kill her." And while taking this girl by the legs, he put her up in the air and ready to end her life. But as he did that, she just disappeared from his arms. She disappeared from his fingers into thin air, like an illusion, like a mirage, like a fog. And Akashvani, that is, a divine voice, was heard saying, "The 8th child was born, a boy, and is safe. Your killer is still alive, Kans." With that, Kans trembled, and like Herod many thousands of years later, he went looking around for this boy who was going to be his untimely death. So Krishna grew up to be the son of Nand and Yashoda, and as destiny had predicted, he killed his uncle Kans, and all of Mathura was saved from his wicked, wicked rule. So this is the story for today, and we must welcome Lord Krishna into our story. Swagatam Krishna, Sharanagatam Krishna, Swagatam Krishna, Sharanagatam Krishna, Swagatam Suswagatam Sharanagatam Krishna, Swagatam Suswagatam Sharanagatam Krishna, Swagatam Krishna, Sharanagatam Krishna, Swagatam Krishna, Sharanagatam Krishna, Mathura Puri Krishna, Madhusudhana Krishna, Mathura Puri Krishna, Madhusudhana Krishna, Swagatam Suswagatam Sharanagatam Krishna, Swagatam Suswagatam Sharanagatam Krishna, Swagatam Krishna, Sharanagatam Krishna, Swagatam Krishna, Sharanagatam Krishna, Mathura Puri Krishna, Madhusudhana Krishna, Mathura Puri Krishna, Madhusudhana Krishna, Swagatam Suswagatam Sharanagatam Krishna, Swagatam Suswagatam Sharanagatam Krishna, Swagatam Krishna, Sharanagatam Krishna. So, my dear friends, my dear brothers and sisters, every day we're going to have a beautiful story about Lord Krishna. Today we had the introduction talking about the tyrannous king, or Kans, who tried to kill his nephew, his own nephew. What a terrible man. But his nephew, Lord Krishna, was saved, divinely saved, and now is safe away from Mathura and safe in the hands of his foster parents, who are going to be known as his parents throughout his growing up life in the family and home of Nand and Yashoda. He Nanda Nanda Gopala, Ananda Nanda Gopala, 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 He Nanda Nanda Ananda Nanda Yadunanda Nanda Gopala, He Nanda Nanda Ananda Nanda Yadunanda Nanda Gopala. Tomorrow we're going to hear the little exploits of little Lord Krishna. And we're going to hear some bhajans, and we're going to have some lovely stories. So remember, tune in sharp at 9. I'm going to try and have the session open from 8:45 on Facebook Live, so you can see some lovely images of dear Lord Krishna and hear some beautiful flute music. And we'll start sharp at 9. It's only going to be short sessions of about half an hour. But on Saturday, Sunday and Monday, we're going to have a feast and have hour-long sessions with lots more bhajans and more stories. So, do you want to find out what story we're going to have tomorrow? Well, tune in, and I look forward to seeing you at 9 p.m. London time, BST. See you tomorrow. Jai Shri Krishna. Bolo sab Krishna Kanhaiyalal ji ki Jai.